Hi everyone, I'm your host Kevin, and I'm here with John, who is going to interview Dr. Isaac with me. So, Dr. Isaac, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. It is Dr. Isaac Devakumar. I'm an Indian mathematics teacher, and I've been working in China for the past 10 years. And my specialty is AP Calculus, and I've been teaching AP Calculus for the past 10 years in China.
Yeah. So, I heard from my friend John that you have a very special education background. So, maybe you can tell us more about that.
Definitely. Um, I have got 15 degrees so far with two
Wow.
doctorates, PhDs. And my specialty in my PhD is Vedic mathematics, which is the Indian traditional method of solving problems in shortcut ways. So that's my
Mhm.
specialty. And I love math, and I love to solve the challenging problems in math and teaching my students some challenging problems.
That sounds great. And it does also connect with today's topic, which is about Indian culture and Indian ethics. And so we're gonna open this conversation by asking a kind of a little more personal question, which is that what motivated you, maybe from a cultural perspective, growing up in an Indian background, how did other people see your kind of educational pursuit, and what made you so dedicated in pursuing the degrees?
Definitely. First of all, I'm proud to say that I've got 15 degrees, including two PhDs. And I graduated most of the degrees in India, and I did my PhD in United States of America. And actually, education is my passion from my childhood onwards. So since my family background is my father was a high school teacher, and he was my inspiration to become a teacher because I learned a lot of things from him, and especially when I was in the school ages, my father used to teach me a lot of good stuff, some ethics about the education or teaching, all those stuff. And then he did a lot of service to his students, and he was a role model to my educational career. That's why I chose this teaching field as my education career. Now I've been excelling in this education, and I started my teaching in 1996 back in India, and
Mhm.
this I've been teaching for more than 25 years. And in 2015, I moved into China, and this is my 10th year. I've been working in China, and one of the interesting thing is uh, when I started my teaching in China in 2015, I was selected as the best teacher of the year 2016 and 2017 by the Chinese government. So I'm proud to say that I'm the one and only foreign teacher who received this excellent teacher of the year 2016 and 2017 for two consecutive years.
Okay, so let's begin with the first question about Indian ethic. So, what are the cultural and ethical reasons behind the deep respect for elders in India society, and how is this tradition maintained?
Very good. Thanks for asking this. Actually, our Indian tradition is really very, very valuable and high level tradition because we have long history of India. And regarding the respecting the elders, we Indians are more respectful persons, and we always respect the elderly person. And usually, if you see any Indians, they always used to say like this. In Hindi, they say is a namaste, but in my native language, we call it a vanakkam. This is in Tamil. So we always give respect to elderly persons and all the fellow beings and everyone. So that is our culture. Because Indian, our quote is, it is a unity in diversity. Because in India, we have different cultures, different religion, different types of people. They speak different languages as well. So we are united in different languages and different religions. That's why we follow the unity in diversity.
Mhm. I think it's interesting that you mentioned that your village speaks a different language from what most of India or the majority speaks. Is this common for a place in India to have this linguistic diversity? And how has it influenced kind of Indian society as a whole?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. As you said, that India has a lots of variety of languages. We have more than 32 states in our country,
Mhm.
and different states speak different languages, and each state has its own culture and tradition. So, as I mentioned you earlier, unity in diversity. Even though we are different from languages, different from religion, different from the colors and everything, but we are united as an Indian. So we the Indian people, we are united in the same spirit, and even though we speak different languages, but we are all united with spiritually.
Okay, so I would like to talk about how does the caste system, like as we all know, like it's very famous throughout the world, the caste system in India. And I would like to ask you, like, how does it influence your career choices? And what's the influence to the opportunities that are available to people in modern India?
Yes, we do have the caste system in India, because that is actually is not differentiating people, but to identifying the people who are, because we have lots of generations. If you go back 2000 years ago, the people, they were doing a lot of different works. For example, some people, they were doing agriculture work, they were doing some golden work, then some. So a lot of people, they were involved in their different careers. So the caste system started from that origin. That was the caste system. So according to based on their career, the caste system, it was created. So now, even though there's a caste system in our country, but it is a good choice for the people to get the benefits, because our Indian government, they have the privileges for each category of people, and especially for the we call the quota for each and every caste. They have some privileges, and they give a lot of education privileges, and all of this monetary privileges, everything. So that is actually the good thing what our government is doing.
Yeah, well, I think there are some perhaps benefits if, people know which career they're pursuing from a younger age, they might be able to become more specialized. But there also seems to be drawbacks for people who might want to pursue a different career choice than what's assigned to them. Um, do you think that the opinions on this issue have changed in India over the years as it becomes more globalized and, international companies start to emerge on the scene and take a major part of the employment market? Do they still have a regard for the caste system, or are they kind of, um, or are they more kind of like, employing people based on their abilities in like interview only? Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice question. I like this question very much. You asked a fantastic question. As you mentioned, that India is actually a growing country and is really emerging, and now the trend has already changed. In my perspective, I would say that the caste system, it doesn't affect the people's career, because the India has become global. If you see every country, there are Indians. So especially for in the United States or in the UK, there are lots of Indian communities are there, and also they are in the high positions, like in Microsoft or some other company CEOs. So the Indians are the flourishing everywhere. So since it is a globalizing in this globalizing world, Indians are really they don't stop by themselves to fly over to other countries. So they are spreading all over the world, and they are developing their skills. And the caste system is not a drawback for their development. Now, almost not a very big deal in our country, because everyone are equal now. The trend is now is getting better and better.
I see. Yes, and you mentioned that, Indians in foreign countries, they tend to form kind of their communities, their like ethnic enclaves in those communities. And what do you think is the best explanation to this? Do you think that, maybe Hinduism has a greater role than like cultural connections, or do you think like families and blood connections are more important? What do you think is the most important reason for this unity, especially aboard?
Yeah, I would say it is not about the religion because the Indians are now actually, if we if we see all over our country, our Indians are really very educated people. So I would say the career some people they choose their careers and some people they get the opportunities in the foreign countries. But I would not say that is because of their religion or that. No, that is only purely because of their knowledge they are gaining and especially the education. Because we have the strong education background. So because of this education background, they are thriving anywhere in the world. I think that is education is the main cause for their development.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I think a lot of people in China would probably share that perspective as well. So I'm curious, what's your view on comparing the differences between the Chinese education system and the Indian? Because, a lot of people in the West tend to categorize them as very alike and very similar. For example, in, worshiping a grade, a gaokao at the end, or very meritocratic systems. But as a teacher who have taught in both countries, a very experienced educator, what do you think is some of the differences that people may fail to recognize that lies between these two systems?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. Actually, in my experience, in the past 25 years experience, I have taught Indian educational curriculum and United States curriculum, which is right now I'm teaching AP curriculum, and I've taught British Columbia, Canada, British Columbia curriculum, and I've taught UK syllabus, IGCSE syllabus, EA level. So I've been experienced teaching different types of curriculum. And also, I've been teaching Chinese curriculum for the long years in China. So when I compared the education system between China and India, it is more or less the same. But the few things is different because in our country, we give the primary education from first standard to fifth standard. That is the elementary, we call it as elementary education. But whereas in China, we call it as from first standard to seventh grade. Am I right? Sixth grade. Sixth
Yeah.
grade. So sixth grade we call it elementary, and we have the high schools and higher secondary school as we do in China. And as you mentioned that you have the Garco, we also do have the same thing. After their higher secondary examination, they are writing NEET exam, medical examination. National is a national level examination, and also we have the engineering entrance examinations and the medical entrance examinations. So they are screening the students very, very tightly, and then they are awarding the seats, the offers to the universities. So the students get the very quality education from Indian schools. They take the difficult examinations, they are selected to the university. And compared to the Chinese education system, I think India also have to improve in the the infrastructure level, because compared to China, India is growing, and in some of the places, since we live in a country, there are lots of villages still there are not so much facility for the schools. So still, I wish that the Indian schools should be developed with the good infrastructure. So I hope it will be achieved very in the short period of time, very soon. And our government is also taking necessary actions for the development and the construction of the infrastructure in our country. So if it is improved, just like China, definitely there'll be the fantastic education system, just like in China.
Yeah, that sounds great. And physical infrastructure is definitely a prerequisite to quality education. There's another aspect that I would like to ask about, which is some people are saying that, India is more focused on STEM education, like science and mathematics and medical sciences. But China seems to lean, more balanced towards like humanities and arts compared to India. Do you think that this is true, that China is more like there's more diversity in maybe the number of subjects that people choose in university? In India, I know that IIT is the most worshipped, which is a university known for its technology. Well, in China, the top two universities have a pretty strong background in both the STEM and the humanities. And do you think this imbalance is true? And secondly, do you think it's a good thing, or maybe that we should be more focused on STEM? Like, what's your view?
Yeah, that's a good question you asked about the majors. Actually, you are talking about the major the students majored in the universities and the schools level. Yeah, as you mentioned the right thing. Actually, Indian students basically the most of the Indian students they like science subjects. If you look at in India, most of the Indians are very good in skills like
Hmm.
as you mentioned, IT technology. So they are very strong in computers and also mathematics, including
Yeah.
me. So they show interest in the STEM education, like they want to learn about engineering and science. Uh, Also, there are a lot of people they are showing interest in arts as well because in India there are fantastic we have the fine arts course, we call it as a fine arts course, FA. So that fine arts course students there are a lot of experts they are becoming very popular from India. They are doing lots of fantastic things. There are Nobel Prize winners also. They were from India who are very good at it in arts. So generally, the Indian students they focus on majority of the students they focus on science and especially computers and mathematics and STEM education. And a part of the students also they learn the arts and cultures as well.
Okay, so as you mentioned that like more students in India they focus mainly on science. So I would like to know like what factor actually motivate them to learn it. Is that about the social value or traditional culture or something else?
Yeah, both. You said the answer for that. Actually, the Indian students they want to learn the science and technology in order to develop our country. That is the main focus, actually. So they want to learn different skills in terms of STEMs or the engineering or anything, and they want to contribute their education to back to our country. That is the focus of our Indian students. So therefore, they are more concentrated in learning about the science, technology, and they learn more things, and then they want to return back to our country. That is the main focus of our students.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So I would like to ask about the female's role in India. So how are traditional values they impact the role of women in leadership positions within the Indian society? Like, is there any traditional concept that's still limiting women to get that position?
Very good. This is also the nice question. Actually, if we go back hundreds of years ago, I would not say that the girls were or the women were just as the equal like men. It was there once upon a time. The ladies were not given. They didn't participate in the major things like politics or something like that big things. But nowadays the trend is changed. We Indians respect women, and the women are just some we give the equal rights to women. So now the trend is totally changed. Now the women are every field. They are the pilots, they are the doctors, they're becoming engineers, teachers, lawyers. So everywhere women are taking the equal rights as men do. So in India, nowadays, it is a good news that lots of leadership positions are held by the women. So that is a great news that. But if we go back several years ago, the whole history, then we could not see a lot of women took place in the society. But nowadays, the totally it is become changed because the India is also becoming like a globalization, and therefore the same right has been given to India. But in still, even though it is becoming more better and better, but still there are some villages in India. Still, the women have to become better because the women they don't. They are hesitating to come outside and they don't want to they're hesitating to work in the public. So still that situation is existing in India, but I hope it will be changing very soon.
I see. Okay. And as this conversation is coming to a close, I want to ask a question that's very close to myself. And I've been like doing work in like environmentalism and like climate activism for a long time. Um, and one of the things that I usually found is that people from non-Western cultures and indigenous people or people in like Asia, China, Confucianism, they often have a view of nature and of the environment that quite differ from the view we hear from, the mainstream views in the English speaking world. So, what do you think traditional Indian beliefs and belief systems have a view of nature or the environment that might, differ from the Western view and how it could be used for us to make more informed ethical decisions when it comes to interacting with nature.
Definitely. So, if you look at the tropical region of India, it is a beautiful city, yeah, beautiful country. So, India has every sources of nature. We have the green lands everywhere. We have the agriculture, like the acres of thousands and thousands of acres of agricultural land everywhere. If you come to India, you can see the green places, green lands everywhere. So we do pay more attention to the environment because Indians are very, very conscious about to protecting the environment. So we want to take care of our environment. So and also now we have in our country we have the Green India policy. That means we don't use any artificial things or something like that. So the lot of the society, not only society, the college students, the school students, they are also working on it to make the clean India. So even though the population now, the India has beat the China's population, I think. So India is becoming more and more. As the population is getting bigger and bigger, the environment is also it is getting spoiled sometime. So to prevent this, the people and the government they unitedly working on together to resist these problems. So especially in the rivers, they have the water, the filthy waters, and the air pollution, and the water pollution. So these are the main causes in India because of the density of the population. So for that, the government and the people are also unitedly working together to prevent these kind of problems. Because we in India, as the polluted air and polluted water, the people get affected, they get some diseases. So to prevent this, actually, our people are very conscious, and nowadays they are looking at the Western countries how they can protect our environment just like Western countries. So they learn from other countries, and also they are doing their best to reduce these problems in our country.
Okay, so concluding question. What advice do you have for people who wish to learn more about Indian culture and philosophy and ethics? Which sources do you think people could, go on to access more authentic information, less biased, and that truly shows how diverse and um, how, the kind of core of Indian philosophy.
Yeah, definitely. So there are multiple ways that you can Indian culture and Indian heritage because as I mentioned you early, India has a long history. It is a lot of civilization. And if you go to, there are different sources. I would recommend the first thing is first you are invited to our country first. So if you come out to our country, then you can see with your own eyes and you can enjoy the beauty of India. India. So that is the one thing you can do. And the second thing is you can talk with Indians just like me. So we are all from India, so we can share about our country's tradition and culture and everything. The second thing. And the third thing, if you're not able to meet any Indians, if you're not able to come over to our country, then you can go to website and Google, and you could just Google about India. There are fantastic articles and fantastic truths about India. So you can learn a lot of history about India through the computers online. There are tons of websites available online, so you can learn more about India. And especially you can learn about the Indian dance, folks, and cultures. The Indians is very popular in Bollywood. The
Yeah.
Bollywood dance is very popular worldwide. And basically, the Indians are very talented in dancing, including me. I am a dancer and singer as well. And so they have multiple talents. And we have there are they have the talented people, very highly skilled people. So they are really amazing people. So I'm proud to be an Indian.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Thank you for your time here. John, do you have any other things to ask?
Yeah. I hope we can see you in Ways of BIPH. Yeah.
Definitely, we'll see soon, very
Okay,
certainly. And thank you very much for the opportunity to share about my country, India.
no
Thank you very
problem. It's
much.
great to learn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.